Igniting, inspiring, and evoking the fire within.
It's going to happen in its own time. And I think the most important thing is to create the space within yourself to be a receiver. And if you are truly a receiver and truly patient, things will come.
Maybe it's time to go home. Now the day goes by, thousand thoughts of you. Not a night gone past to slip through. Not a smile can make on this cold face. Think I'm broke without you. Think I'm broke without you.
The What's Your Inspiration podcast with Fox Beyer.
On this episode of the What's Your Inspiration podcast, we have singer, songwriter, and collaborator Robert Arms. I hope you enjoy his perspectives on the art and craft of songwriting and so much more. Here we go. Hello and welcome to episode 55 of the What's Your Inspiration podcast. Today, a songwriting friend on, he is Bobby Arms. Bobby is a singer-songwriter from Holliston, Massachusetts, emphasizing songwriting and beginning about 6 years ago with his daughter, Scena. And a lot of his songs touch the base of country, folk, and Americana. Bobby, how are you today?
I am doing very well. And thank you so much for having me, Fox. It's really an honor. I feel humbled by this opportunity, I must say. I don't feel worthy, but I will try to be.
Ladies and gents, he certainly is worthy. And just to paraphrase a little bit, along about a year ago, a few months after the passing of my grandmother, Wanda Kilblock, honoring her, I wrote a song and posted it on a site called Freddie, which is now Songwriting Pro. And Bobby here heard it. And Bobby, best of my knowledge, you told me in writing that you had never met your grandmother, but you felt like after reading the lyrics and hearing the demo of the song that you really connected with it.
Yeah, there was a real warmth that came through in the song. And so I just felt a real connection to it. And I think I offered some other critiques to it too, which weren't directed at you. They were directed at more the performance that was put together. And so, as you know, I kind of took it from there, and I took some turns on there, and we made it into something else together, which was really cool. It was very rewarding.
So cool, and it was such a fun co-write. You put some WD-40 on it, and made it even better. And
I think that was my first co-write ever, to be honest with you. I don't think I have ever co-written with anybody that I recall. If I might be just forgetting somebody, but I think that might have been. You were my first, Fox.
I hope I didn't disappoint.
No, not at all. Au contraire.
It was a lot of fun. And then the song is called Here's to You. It's on Bobby's SoundCloud channel, if I could share it. Last name Armes, Bobby Arms. So if you're intrigued after this talk, please check that out. Here's to You, about the late, great Wanda Moore Keelblock. Let's get in to your journey, Bobby, after communicating with you and talking to you over the last basically year. Can you remember the first song you wrote with your daughter, Scena?
Yeah. There was this song that, basically just to kind of give people a little background. My daughter was probably like, I don't know, 8 years old or something. And she used to just kind of love Taylor Swift and listen to it in the car all the time with her. And so we told her, Taylor just had written about her life, And so my daughter used to come up with all sorts of crazy lyrics in the back seat and everything, and just really bad stuff. I mean, it's what you would expect, and it's just, somebody just learning how to do something. And then one day, she said, Dad, can I borrow your phone? Can I record some? So she created a voice memo, and she recorded this song oh God, what was it called? It'll come back to me. But she just sang it like a cappella, just by herself in the bathroom. And then she brought it to me, and I'm thinking, this is just going to be another, just a silly little girl song. That's not, but then it was like, wow, this was really something. It was something called like the world around me, or something like that, the world around me. So, my first songwriting with her was like I had to figure out how to put guitar to it. So I had to, put the chords to her melodies and kind of help her work out the different sections of the song. And to this day, I don't think we have a really good recording of that. And I kind of regret that. I almost kind of want to go back, because it was actually a really pretty song. I mean, and it was just, it just always astounded me that she could come up with something like that. And it's, it was just like pure unconscious inspiration from her, just without anything getting in the way. And so it was really beautiful. I mean, yeah, I got to go back and I got to look at that sometime. I got to put that together, because I feel like I'd like to have a good recording of that, just to, going forward, because I'd hate to lose it forever. But that's how I started songwriting. I helped my daughter finish her songs. And
it's in the genes. It's in the genes.
I guess, I don't know. I mean, I've been playing guitar ever since I was like 12 years old, but I never, I used to play in, we played covers, with friends in a rock band, garage band, and played all the AC/DC and Van Halen and all this stuff. And, it was a blast and had a great time, but we didn't write any songs, and all we thought was, all that mattered was like being able to do the stuff that was really hard that either Eddie Van Halen did or Rush, or, something wasn't good unless it was hard and a challenge, So I spent my whole life just looking at music that way. I appreciated a lot of music, but I never got into writing at all until my daughter, so she got me into it, which is such a twist, because usually parents get their kids into something, but she kind of ended up getting me into it. So yeah, and it's kind of gone from there. Eventually she kind of lost interest. I mean, she kind of created a few more songs. We did some recitals. We used to go to open mics, and she and I would play together. She didn't want to go to the kid open mics. She wanted to go to the grown-up open mics. So that was a lot of fun. It was great. And she was like the little star out there. She was great. I mean, she was never afraid to be on stage either. I was terrified because I had never really done that before. So it's been a great journey with her. And today, these days, she's in high school and she's kind of lost, she's not interested in that anymore. And I don't want to shove it down her throat. And so, I'm doing my thing, and she's, at least for now, she's not doing that anymore. But I kind of just realized helping her that I could actually write songs on my own. So
it's interesting. I mean, it's almost like she was the seed, right?
Yes. Yeah.
You ever read the book The Seed by John Gordon?
That sounds very familiar.
Yeah, he does a lot of books in terms of that. What were the precursors?
Yeah,
they're all fables. But it reminds me of that book. Interesting how your daughter did something that really reawoke something that was years in the past.
Yeah,
Pretty
that's
cool.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, yeah.
Pretty cool. So you've been on this journey. That was back when she was around 8 years old.
Something like that. Yep.
She's in high school. So this has been going on for pushing 10 years. Within your songwriting journey, I want to ask you this. Fill in the blank. The hardest part of songwriting is
lyrics.
Yeah.
I remember a time when I was trying to write some songs. I could come up with a lot of different guitar riffs because I've played guitar a long time. So I could, and that was often the seed of most of my early songs were just guitar riffs. And that's fine. I mean, that's just one way to kind of approach it. But I remember just sitting with my guitar and having these cool sounding chords and just everything, and even melodies. But when it came to lyrics, I remember feeling like it was a very uncomfortable feeling of feeling like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do this. It was just like, almost had anxiety about it. So I wanted to like get it done and get it kind of get through with it, get it out there and put it down so I don't have to think about it anymore, because it was an uncomfortable feeling.
Right.
And I spent a lot of time, it's funny, like I learned, let's see, there's a Netflix show about the Eagles where Glenn Fry was talking about. Did you see that?
Yes, thousands of times.
Yeah, me too. I've rewatched it numerous times. And he spoke about how he didn't know how to write songs, but then he was staying in a little apartment above Jackson Browne. And he heard the Teapot, right. And Jackson Browne was working on one of his hits.
Doctor of My Eyes, maybe?
Doctor of My Eyes, yes, exactly, yes. And so, and I think he explained how like Jackson Browne would do a verse and work on this and do it over and over and over and over and over. And then he'd get away from the piano and put on the tea for a little while, and then he'd write some more, then he'd go back to the piano, and then Glenn Fry was just all, oh, this is how you write a song. And so watching that and hearing that, it was like, I can relate to that. I mean, so that was just like so helpful. And there was another one, I don't know if it was on Netflix or not, it was by John Mellencamp. He has something called Plain Spoken. And it's a documentary, but a lot of also performances of his in this one concert. And he talks about the process of songwriting. And it's, so I became kind of a junkie for like really looking at how to improve my craft. So I would, find all this stuff online about like what to do here, what to do, so I was, and still am, a student of songwriting, even though I only started this in my 50s. And it's just been so rewarding. I mean, and now when I sit down with a blank sheet and I'm trying to write some lyrics, instead of like the anxiety of feeling uncomfortable, it's turned into like, this is the greatest fucking opportunity to say something, anything I want in a really unique, beautiful way. And every line is a potential to do something new in a different way. And so it's kind of like I flipped it on its head. It's like now it's become, I mean, I can't tell you how many hundreds of times I've rewritten like the song that I'm going to be playing later, I'm broke without you. I literally, I only started that a week and a half ago, but I've rewritten those lyrics so many times. Every word I lose sleep over it. They go through my head and I just think that word isn't right. Got to find something else there. So, yeah, and it's extremely satisfying when I get it to a point where I think this is probably good. It still could change tomorrow, and I'm willing to record it too. But I could still, I don't know, in my view, lyrics are never done. It's almost like an evolving thing. You could almost always find something to improve slightly somewhere. So I believe I transgressed from what you originally asked me, but
no, that's good. This is about you, and I want you to talk honestly like that. It seems like the beginning of your journey, you thought like, well, I have to write lyrics, and now it's I get to write lyrics.
Yeah,
and you're really enjoying it, and
yeah,
I do as well.
Yes, I know you do. Yeah, you write poetry. Yes, poetry and lyrics. Yeah, so. Yeah, it's just so immensely rewarding. It's hard to put it into words. I don't know.
Think about what you just said. It's so rewarding. It's hard to put it into words.
Yeah, no pun intended. But
I like this.
I guess I got to put that into words somehow.
All right, fill in this line. A great song is
inspirational, heartwarming, emotional. But doesn't always have to be that. Sometimes some songs can just be kind of fun. I don't know. I've heard some lines said, a good song, it's either got to get you thinking, get your toe tapping, or warm your heart. If you could do a little of all that, that's good. So for me, usually it's pretty emotional. You've seen some of the stuff I write about. I mean,
Sure. Yeah.
it's never happy stuff. I don't write happy. To be honest with you, I'm happy in my life, and I mean, I love my life, but my life is pretty boring. I mean, nobody wants to hear about how I wake up and I love my wife and how beautiful she is. And yeah, well, maybe she would like to hear that.
That's what you believe, but right.
Yeah, I mean, for me though, when I'm writing, I don't know. I usually want to write about something meaty that has some form of misery involved. I know that sounds negative, but like, for example, in the song that I'm going to perform a little later, you know, it's about a guy whose wife has died, right? But he's looking forward to seeing her in heaven, and there's something really beautiful about that. So yeah, I can't really write songs about picking up a girl in a bar. I don't know. Somebody like Eric Church can write a brilliant song like Put a Drink in My Hand, and it's just an amazing, perfect song in my view. I love it to death, but I can't write songs like that. I can't write about all I want to do is put a drink in my hand. I mean, I love that song. I wish I had written it, but I don't know. I can't write about that stuff. It's not me.
I mean, I love songs like that. It's not my tribe either.
Yeah, you know the song I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a great song, and you know you got to like that kind of thing.
Oh,
but
no question.
And so many country songs, you know, they're about drinking. You know, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, but I got to tell you, I get really tired of listening to country radio, where I kind of don't listen to it anymore because I don't know, it doesn't resonate for me. It doesn't click for me. I mean, there's some stuff that's just like absolutely amazing and I love it, like it's the girl that sings More You'll Break More Hearts Than Mine, Ingrid something, I forgot her last name. This beautiful country song, just extremely simple and traditional. It's just, I love that. I mean, I just thought that was one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard. I mean, now it's gonna bug me. I can't find her name.
It bug me too. We'll have to Google it while we're talking here.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that in the background here. But yeah, I don't want to get sidetracked. But I don't remember what your original question was, Fox.
What a good song is. You said inspirational and makes you think, and I think that you're definitely in the majority. Certainly for me. I mean, certainly for me, if I have a drink in my hand and I hear a song that makes me think, I'm in the right place.
Yeah,
I'm in a good place. So I certainly concur. Let's continue with our little game, what, which, and where. We'll get to know Bobby a little bit more.
Okay, I'm sure.
We've talked about this. Bobby swears he's not ready for this. I believe he is. I'm sure you believe that he is. Bobby, I'm just going to read a line from maybe one of your influences, and you tell me from where it came.
I'll try.
And I will ask one more time. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Here it is. Quote number 1. I wouldn't be the man I am today if not for those who loved me along the way.
I love that line, but I can't tell you where it came from.
Oh, yeah, he's so close to you right now. It is unbelievable.
Oh, really?
You just talked about him.
I don't know.
You just talked about this man.
Who the hell was I just talking about?
Drink in my hand.
Oh, that's Eric Church.
That's
really?
Eric Church. That's Eric Church. That's
Which song?
Eric Church lyric. I don't know exactly, but it popped in my queue, and I said, that's something I need to ask Bobby.
No, I really like that line though. I wouldn't be the man I am if it weren't for the people. What is it again?
I wouldn't be the man I am today if not for those I've loved along the way.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's really beautiful. I love that. I got to tell you, he is one of my, I don't know. I don't think I listed him. Did I list him as an influence? I can't remember.
Yes.
But
yes.
He does so many things so well. I just really, I mean, it's just, he's one of my, oh yeah, I love his stuff. He's the gold standard in my mind. So.
I mean, for me too, he's one of those that I try not to analyze the song. I just try to have fun listening to it because it just goes, woo!
Yeah.
Like, how did you come up with that? I could have written that. I mean, I couldn't have. So yeah, and for me too. And speaking for speaking of those you've loved along the way, what musicians have influenced you? Who have you loved along the way that have gotten you to where you are as a singer-songwriter?
Well, early on, as I mentioned before, I mean, I used to be into a lot of just, rock growing up. And, I grew up, me and my friends as a teenager, it was all Pat Travers was huge for me. A lot of people don't even know who he is, but Van Halen, AC/DC, things of that nature. But when I started getting into songwriting in my 50s, that's when I really started to appreciate and listen to more of Bob Dylan. I really got into Eric Church, of course, as I've mentioned. John Mellencamp, he has some later stuff from later in his career. I mean, his old stuff's great and it was really good, but he has some other stuff like this from that movie that he had, Plain Spoken. There's this one song on there called I'm a Troubled Man. And it's just a brilliant song. And so songs like that just really, really kind of stuck with me because it resonated where like, so many musicians these days, they're young and they're writing about young things. And I'm not, I'm at where I'm at and this is what I'm writing about. And I can write about, being at my age and whatever troubles I might have, or even imagine that I might have, or writing about death of myself or loved ones. And so, John Mellencamp was a huge influence. Because he's really matured in his later years. He's just got some amazing songs.
He's an artiste. I mean, he's an artiste. Just looking at his trajectory over the years and, following it casually. And I love his work. It seems like in later years, he's really focused on being the artist in the song and not necessarily the entertainer. And I think it's really given great depth to his work. For sure. And I've seen that documentary. I've started watching it. It's just amazing. Yeah, totally.
He's like a fine wine that has just gotten better in time in my mind.
Indeed. It's a nice rhyme right there.
Didn't mean to rhyme. Just
Seeds and the antennas are up here. The antennas they're definitely up. Hey, second line. I want you to fill in what, which, and where. Who said this? He who is not busy being born is busy dying.
See, you're going to get me again. I don't know.
And again, if we just rewind about 90 seconds, you mentioned him. Not Eric Church again.
Right. Okay. Bob Dylan.
Indeed.
Okay. Well, that was just a guess because I mentioned him 90 seconds-ish ago. Well, my memory is not what it used to be, so I can't remember a lot of these lines.
That's another great line. Memory is not what it used to be. That's something. That's another C. I'm going to write that one down.
Well, I think you got it recorded here, so I can always
jot that down.
Well, I'm 2 for 2 now.
Yes, you are. And we're gonna quit while we're ahead with what, which, and where. Thank you for sharing all those memories and anecdotes. And if you don't mind, it is time for your performance. And before you do it, talk a little bit about the song that you're going to perform.
Okay, well, I just started writing this song only a week and a half ago. I just started, I was coming off another song. So I was trying to kind of move on to something new. And I just started, playing some riff on the guitar and just funny, I just kind of kept playing it over and over, put it on my phone so I could just like listen to it over and over. And eventually like a lyric started to form that came into the chorus, Not a Day Goes By. And somehow that lyric resonated, so that kind of stuck. And I'm literally sang it over and hummed it and tried to work it out, many times. And eventually as lyrics start to solidify, themes and topics of the song kind of solidify, which then So it's kind of backwards the way I back into it. It's not like I go into it with a story in mind necessarily, but this one I kind of backed into. I can talk about other songs that I've intentionally. I'm going to take a tangent here for a second. I know we're probably
go for it,
but there's been a couple times in writing where I've heard something that was like so moving and inspirational to me, and the song was, for example, it was called "Daughters" by a group called Little Big Town, and the basic theme of the song was like, I'm waiting for the God for the daughters, because it seems like so many women are mistreated. And so the song is about, she wants a God to take care of the daughters and not just the men, not just the boys. And I just thought it was just so, so beautiful. If you haven't heard it, I would suggest listening to it and reading the lyrics one day. And so I felt such an appreciation for the song. I just felt like I want to write something in a similar vein. I don't know what it's going to say. I don't know how. And so I had that theme. I knew I wanted that. And so finally I ended up, long story short, I was just plucking away on the guitar and it was actually before I even got to the guitar. This was during the Me Too movement. When that was, very in the news. There was so many women coming out about the Me Too movement. And so I just thought, that's it. That's the theme. And so then the guitar came in and I started, messing around with some chords and lyrics. And so then I had just the story in mind of how, what if like a teenage girl, was being abused by a stepfather or something, but she was afraid to tell her mother. And, so the lyric is something like, what would you do if I said me too? Would you stay or would you go away? And, when I came up with that theme and that lyric, I just felt like, oh, this is something, this is meaningful. So, and as it turned out, I ended up connecting with these folks in England, Adele and Andy. I think I've mentioned them.
Yes.
And they ended up recording that song and putting it on their album as well as another song. And so in the case of that song, the idea and the space for an idea, I had no idea what the lyric would be. I just knew I wanted something in that vein. The song originated in that way, but compared to the way the song came to be for the one that I'm going to play today, I just kind of backed into it. And as there's no right or wrong way to do this, as we all know.
Sure.
So, and as I backed in, I found the storyline and the theme of a man who's lost his wife and he's looking forward to seeing her in heaven. And I just, when the lyrics came for that, where there's the last line where it's, I'll see you on the other side. I just knew that worked and it resonated. I could feel it, and I think, I don't know, a lot of people, maybe you have to be older, maybe you have to be married, but you can imagine what it would be like to lose somebody that's very, very special and you're looking forward to seeing them on the other side. So it really resonated with me. And so I've been almost every waking minute, I'm like thinking about the lyrics, changing the lyrics. I went on some Facebook groups, bounced it off a couple folks. They gave me some great ideas, a lot of discussion. Just, it's really great to be able to do that. And you get people that'll actually not just tell you what sounds good, but if you get people that you get to be comfortable with, and I want them to tell me what doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, and everybody wants to be polite and nice, and that's wonderful. But it's really, really helpful sometimes for somebody I really wanted somebody to tell me, well, what doesn't work here? So I got some good feedback on that front, and that was very useful. So yeah, it all ended up with this song. So
good stuff. Good stuff. If you want to get ready to go, and get your guitar and get ready to do this, feel free. feel free to do that as I kind of comment on what you said.
All right, I'll get set up in here in the background while you do that. I'll give you a heads up.
Perfect. I'll fill up the air. Hopefully not be too boring. This is episode 56, or I should say 55 of the What's Your Inspiration podcast. We're here with Bobby Arms, and he's going to perform a song called I'm Broke Without You. And just thinking about what Bobby said, a lot of songwriting and that I've found is, I don't want to say unintentional, but it's almost like when you're preparing for a song and you're doing that prep work, it's has to do with everything you prepared for previously, and maybe you get an idea for that song from a song that was 5 or 6 songs ago, and that wasn't your intention, but as Dave Grieco, a former guest, said, if you keep your antenna up all the time, good things will happen.
Now, can you hear this guitar at all here?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I think I'm ready to go here.
Should I introduce the song or should you?
Oh, well, I think we kind of already did. But go ahead. You could introduce it if you like.
Sounds good. This is Bobby Arms and the song I'm Broke Without You.
The sun may rise, the moon may glow, the wind may howl, cold winter sounds, but my wood ain't right, someone's missing cry. Now that you're not around, now that you're not around, not a day goes by, 1,000 thoughts of you, not a night gone past that slip through, not a smile can I make on this cold face. Think I'm broke without you, think I'm broke without you. Gone is that time, kids are all grown, got no more seeds here to sow. We had our run, sure had some fun. Maybe it's time to go home, maybe it's time to go home. Not a day goes by, 1,000 thoughts of you, not a night gone past that slip through, not a smile can I make on this cold face. Think I'm broke without you, think I'm broke without you. Got no regrets, no words left unsaid, got no use racing with the past. Alone in our bed, to you I'm still wed, I always knew we forever last. Till my last day, I'll be saying my prayers and biding my time with my time. And when I pass through and I'm born anew, see on the other side, see you on the other side. Not a day goes by, 1,000 thoughts of you, not a night gone past that slip through, not a smile can I make on this cold face. Think I'm broke without you, think I'm broke without you, I think I'm broke without you.
Episode 55 of the What's Your Inspiration podcast. That's guest Bobby Arms with his song I'm Broke Without You. Bobby, humility is a great thing in life, overall, and especially in songwriting, because this game can be rough, and you view your abilities as a singer-songwriter with great humility, but I do detect a lot of dire straits in that song. Mark Knopfler, Bob Dylan, there are a lot of influences there, and it certainly for me definitely tugged at my heartstrings. I'm Broke Without You, Bobby Arms. Bobby, we know all heroes don't wear a cape, but if you had a chance to take a 1-hour car ride with one of the following three people, who would it be and why? Would it be Bob Dylan? Would it be Eric Church? Or would it be Tom Petty?
I think it's got to be Tom Petty. Yeah.
That's somebody we haven't talked about. And tell us.
No, it isn't. Yeah, he's another huge influence for me. I can't believe I haven't even talked about him since we've been talking here today, but so many of his songs I have resonated so deeply with me. I very much appreciate he's got such a knack for like creating something that is extremely simple and extremely catchy and very, very relatable. And just this incredible way of creating these sing-alongable tunes. So I just feel like I'd want to share a joint with him and talk.
Amen. Amen. And God rest his soul. God rest his soul. And I can very much appreciate that answer. So Tom Petty it is. Bobby, empty your pockets, not literally, but take yourself back 6 or 8 years as a novice singer-songwriter. What advice do you have for beginner singer-songwriters?
Oh, let's see. That's a good question. It takes patience. It takes a lot of patience. You have to be willing to just sit and take the time and not expect that you're just going to have an idea. It's just going to happen when you want it to happen. It's going to happen in its own time. And I think the most important thing is to create the space within yourself to be a receiver. And if you are truly a receiver and truly patient, things will come. But it takes time. And I spend a lot of time being impatient, and usually not too much good, not very good stuff comes from a state of impatience. But if you truly just keep yourself open and have a lot of patience and a lot of persistence, good things can happen. But it takes time. It takes time.
Sage wisdom here on the podcast from Bobby. Thank you very much. Bobby, how can people get in touch with you if they so desire?
Usually you can just, SoundCloud is a good place. You can send me a message there if you want. Probably the best way. I don't even have a website, so that's the best way to go.
SoundCloud it is. Now, is it Bobby or Robert Arms on SoundCloud?
It's Bobby Arms on SoundCloud.
And ARMES, a lot of good stuff. And then that song, I'm Broke Without You, is or is not on SoundCloud now?
It is now. I just put it up there yesterday. I think I just did my final cut up there. Yeah. So, that's up there.
So you can hear that fresh cut on SoundCloud. Bobby, thank you so much for your time and space today.
Thank you very, very much, Fox. It's been a lot of fun.
Surely has. That will wrap up episode 55 of the What's Your Inspiration podcast. Bobby and I will talk at you all later. Take good care.
You have been listening to the What's Your Inspiration podcast with Fox Beyer, because impact on each other is the greatest currency you could ever have.
We tended away, left a road we've been through. Others' craziness left us so black and blue. Lost in those bottles of gin, and all the places we've been. But we turned away. Yeah, we turned away. I mean, listed up and some bugging gone wrong. Backed against the wood, she never was that strong. She put up quite the fight, but couldn't end it right. Pride goes before the fall. Yeah, pride goes before the fall. We turned it away, left a road that we've been through. Others' craziness left us so black and blue. Lost in those bottles of gin, other places we've been. But we turned away. Yeah, we turned away. Mackie got to for school, it was too late. King of the things soon he found his fate, finding a better way. Started fast eBay. Fortune favors the bold. Yeah, fortune favors the bold. We turned it away, left a road that we've been through. Others' craziness left us so black and blue. Lost in those bottles of gin, all the places we've been. But we turned away. Yeah, we turned away.